All right, Sean Lennon here. We are back on Pro Wrestling Enforcer podcast, getting you guys ready for some big wrestling events in the future. And make sure to follow the Fight Elite Report YouTube channel for all of my content. And right now we're welcoming Joliet, Illinois independent wrestler Erich Shultz to Pro Wrestling Enforcer to talk about his career. Good. I'm sorry?
It's good to be here, Sean. Brother. It's good to be here, Sean. Didn't mean to step on your lines.
Oh, no worries. No worries. No, I was just going to say, we're going to be talking about your upcoming matches, your upcoming shows, that your schedule. So you have a match with Chicago Woman star Sky Blue at CSW, Ronda the Core, among other shows you have coming up. Well, Sky Blue, you're scheduled to wrestle Sky Blue? Can you hear me okay?
Blue, that doesn't sound familiar to me. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Well, that's what I saw on the social media.
The name, I'll have to look her up. Sky Blue, it doesn't sound familiar to me. I'll have to look her up to see if she's popular. I don't know. I really don't know.
I don't want to, kind of give out her shoot name, but it starts with a D. So maybe you know where's that.
No, I hear you, man.
Okay.
No. Yeah, Sky and I, we train together.
Yes,
we have trained together at CSW. So yeah, I'm looking forward to Rotten to the Core.
Yes,
August 19th. That's a Friday night. That'll be in Franklin Park. That's a CSW show, and it'll be me and Sky in a briefcase on a pole match.
Yes, that's going to be interesting. And
so,
we also
I agree. I think it'll be very interesting, actually.
Yeah, it's the fans are the fans are going to be loud and going to be raucous. They are going to be for CSW shows, so they're ready. And I know Sky Blue is obviously the favorite, but hey, maybe there's some Schultz fans showing up. You never know.
Hey,
right?
You never know. Sky
Exactly.
Blue's the favorite. The favorite to who? Nobody. She's nobody's favorite. Maybe she's everybody's favorite, but you know what? If she's everybody's favorite, that makes me an underdog. And who doesn't love an underdog story, right?
Yeah. Definitely.
That's right.
Northland Pro, I have it on authority. It's going to return on October 1st, unless they're coming back next month.
That's a good question. Let me check my schedule.
Mm-hmm.
But no, October 1st sounds right.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll figure on October 1st. As I understand, that's going to be a Halloween show.
Okay.
So if there is a show, ladies and gentlemen, that you want to attend, at least make it be the October 1st Northland Pro Wrestling show, which is a Saturday.
Cool.
Yes, it is. Yeah, so that's going to be a Halloween themed show. I'm sure if kids come, there will be candy. So bring your kids, and there's going to be some great matches. It's going to be a great show for sure.
Awesome. Crash Tested Wrestling Whiplash September 24th.
That's right.
You have a gauntlet match.
I'll be there.
In Hobart.
That's me.
Exactly. So that's going to happen at the end of September. So yeah, you've got a busy schedule. Talk about that.
Oh, you're not even done there, brother. CTW on September 23rd is correct. 23rd, Gauntlet match. Northland October 1st. And then I got AHW, or first of all, we already talked about CSW.
Right.
August 19th, me and Sky in the briefcase on a pole match. And then August 28th, Sunday, August 28th, I'll be debuting at All Heels Wrestling, AHW.
Nice.
I'm their resident attorney now. And then also in August, I just got booked to make an appearance at JWA.
Oh, okay.
JWA. Yeah. So I'll go out there and see what trouble I can cause at JWA. Can
your lawyer can your lawyer skills hold up in another state? Like, don't you have a separate license for
like
that?
Wisconsin?
Yeah, Wisconsin.
I
Right?
feel like Wisconsin's more lenient than Illinois.
Yeah,
Like
okay.
Indiana,
Right.
Wisconsin, like all the states that border Illinois seem to be more lenient than Illinois.
True.
So whatever
That
I can
makes
do in
sense.
Illinois, I can almost guaranteed get away with in any other state around it.
Well, let's start from the beginning. Talk about discovering your passion for professional wrestling. Was there a particular match or wrestler that you felt inspired you?
Yeah, oh, that's a good question. But to tell you the truth, it was actually my brother, who is 10 years older than me. He was into wrestling in the late 80s, early 90s with like Hogan and Warrior. Got me into it, even though I was just a pup. And then it wasn't until the late 90s when we had the Monday Night Wars between WWF and WCW, Nitro versus Raw. But that was like a thing we did. That was a ritual of ours. And that really, and that excitement of like flipping back and forth between those two channels and just seeing the competition, that was kind of intoxicating. And that's kind of what got me into it in the late 90s. But I would say for 20 years after that, I probably didn't really care less about professional wrestling until 2019, when I went to a show, an independent show with my buddy up in Itasca over at Church Street Brewing. We
Nice.
saw a show. Yeah. It was freelance.
Freelance
I'll
underground. Yeah.
I'll call a spade a spade. It was a freelance show. But yeah, anyway, we saw that show. It was a fun show. There's probably more people putting on the show than there were watching the show or had bought tickets for the show. But anyway, I just remember thinking like, this is cool. And this is something like I'd like to get into. I remember talking to some of the wrestlers afterwards, and I was asking them all about their age. And I was asking everybody what their age was. I said, hey man, great job tonight. Woo woo. How old are you? Oh, hey, look at you. You did awesome tonight. I love the gimmick. How old are you? You know, I kept asking people what their age was, because I'm old. I was 32 at the time. And I just kept thinking like, this is too old for me to get into, and I'm just not there, but I was still attracted to it for whatever reason. But anyway, it was actually Pat Monix who said, hey man, you're never too old to get into pro wrestling. You know, so I thought, oh dude, that's actually kind of cool. It kind of, it hit right on what I was thinking. And so after that, I just remember looking for a school, and I landed on CSW, Chicago style wrestling, with Steve Boz and Jason, Paul, and all those guys. And because they were, just to be real, they were close to my work at the time. So it was like the most convenient gym to train at. But still, I do remember asking like Boz what set him apart from other schools. And he says, hey man, we're going to teach you how to tell a story. And we're going to teach you how to do it safe. And those were like the two things, man. Those were just the two things I needed to hear. And I was like, all right, this is for me. So yeah, I ended up joining in January of 2020.
That's awesome, man. You know, hey, good for you, man. Even like not being deterred by, being a bit older.
Yeah. Not being deterred by limitations of age or physical ability or general attractiveness.
I know it seems like everybody that's kind of a name now is doing it in like their 20s, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, that's what I figured.
That's their start.
I figured the person who gets in at 20 or even something teen, their late teens or whatever, or their early 20s, they're the ones who are probably it's like football, the younger the better, because they can get developed. Even if they are still kind of green or whatever, because they're new and just starting out, at least, a booker or some other kind of talent can develop them and kind of, breed them, for lack of a better word, and kind of, and whatever. So, but, to come in at 32 years of age, it's kind of, I'm not even that like a bodybuilder. If I came in at 32 and I was already a big, beefy 250 pound guy, they could work with that. But I wasn't 250 pounds. I probably was like 205, and it was like an ugly 205, but and that's why I always say, I didn't really have much I didn't have a real imposing physical appearance.
Mhm.
And the truth is I wasn't real acrobatic or athletic. You know, I couldn't do some of the stuff, some of the wild stuff some of the other guys in the class could do, but you know, I feel like, hey, you got to play to your strengths. And I feel like I have a good character, and that's kind of what I rely on. So, plus Diamond Dallas Page is kind of my spirit animal.
True.
He's my spirit animal. And I heard he got it. Yeah, I heard he got into the biz kind of late, like 35 or so, or at least he started wrestling. He's probably been in the biz earlier than his 30s, but he didn't start wrestling until he was like 34 or 35. So I always kind of looked at that as like an idol of mine. Like, well, if he can do it, you know, there you go. You got real popular, and so why can't I?
For sure, man. And, you know, I wonder if there's like a cutoff. Like, okay, if you're like 40, maybe you can't do it. You know, it'd be much tougher.
Yeah, I mean, as I understand it, there is no cutoff. I mean, it obviously gets harder and harder. You know, you get less and less time the older you get. You know, I'm not 21, which means I don't have 12 years of experience behind my belt before I become, you know, 32 or 33 or whatever, you know, the math is. And, you know, again, I'm 34. You know, most people who are 34 in the wrestling business have, you know, they got 14 years or whatever years of experience or more, you know, and then I, you know, here at 34, I only got two years of experience, you know. So, but again, for me, it was like, I'd rather, you know, better late than never was kind of my philosophy. I'd rather do it and start it. And like I said, you know, DDP was kind of an idol of mine, and, you know, some of the hottest wrestlers right now, again, granted, they've been doing it for a while, you know, they're in like their early to mid 30s. So it's like, why not? You know, all I really ever wanted to do was have one good match. And I feel like I've already surpassed that. So the rest has just been kind of icing on the cake.
For sure. Was that a good match with Boz when you took Boz on one-on-one?
Yeah, that was July 2021.
Yeah.
So a little over a year ago now. That was a fun match for me. It's probably one of my biggest matches, if not my biggest match. The only other one I would say that rivals that one is when I wrestled Marche over at Marche Rocket over at Crash Tested Wrestling. But aside from Marche Rocket, probably Steve Boz at Northland Pro Wrestling, July 2021. That was a fun match. I feel like we did good work. And he's a great opponent. He's my instructor, so it's just kind of like I don't know, it was just kind of like poetic, or I don't know, it's just kind of like it was nice. It was nice to wrestle my instructor. You know, in fact, I debuted against Boz in a tag match. It was me and Sweet Tea, Taurine Johnson, and we tagged against the Bruise Brothers at the time, TJ Steele and Steve Boz. That was my very first match, and we did it at LLT, Lucha Libre Total. Nice. And oh man, I remember thinking, like, it's one thing to have a first match, but it's another thing to have a first match against your instructor. It's like, you know, I was in shambles, but it ended up being a great match. I was well insulated. I had a lot of good dance partners, and so yeah. But yeah, my singles with Boz was a great one, and it was fun for sure.
Sure. And then I'm sure you probably got into bet in shape, right? Because you had to get in shape to do wrestling.
Yeah, that's a good point, man. You know, I got in, before I even started with the school, I had an interest in wrestling. So I'd already started working out, you know, and I did some sports in high school, but not like high impact sports. I wasn't a wrestler. You know, I did like volleyball in high school. That was the extent of my athletics. But so yeah, not real physically imposing, but but I would say since January 2020, or even before that, before I even got into school, I was starting to kind of lift and try to, you know, work on my diet and get like protein in and kind of beef up a little bit and kind of look the part. And then obviously after I started, it's been easy to stay in that world and stay motivated because I'm surrounded by so many people who are also lifting and trying to get big and, and eating protein and working out and things like that. So yeah, it's a slow walk in the right direction. It's just kind of, it's all about consistency and progress. So yeah, I feel like I'm in I'm probably in the best shape of my life at 34 years old, which is, I know it's kind of encouraging, and I owe it all to this little hobby I'm in because, it's a visual, phenomenon. It's a visual business, it's a superficial business.
It is in many ways, but you got to have the skills to back it up. I mean, we have so many big dudes, like you see Joey Avalon, that guy is huge, TJ Steele.
He's a large human.
Yeah,
TJ Steele, he's, there's no reason why that guy can't be more popular. I think he's got, other pots on the stove that he's stirring, but if he wanted to, he could be very, very popular in this business. More popular than he already is because he's quite a talent. He's an upstanding individual. I'll say that.
Yeah, and also you felt the wrath of Gonzo in your last match.
Gonzi? You felt my wrath.
Yeah.
No, yeah,
know,
we
but
just
still.
I did. He almost had you, bro. Came out hot. We just wrestled last Saturday at Northland Pro Wrestling, me and Gonzi, and he's he's got all the tools, man. He's a 5-tool player, and he just needs time, because he's a young pup too. So you give him a few more years, and he'll be much more popular than he is now. And he'll be, even better than he is now. But he's so good now; it's almost unreal. He's like a prodigy. I've always called him kind of a prodigy. How quickly he took to it. But yeah, it was great to work with him last Saturday, even though I won. But but yeah, no, yeah, he's got a long career ahead of him, and holding all else constant. So a bright future, I should say, for that young man.
Yeah, good to hear. Now, finding your character is Erich Shultz, attorney at law. We don't normally see the occupational gimmicks used today, but what's your take on this? Makes it different.
Being like a lawyer.
Being like we don't really see that. That was like kind of the mid 90s.
Yeah, it's like IRS. When you come out with a short sleeve button up, a tie, and suspenders, everyone starts thinking IRS. And they think, oh, you do the IRS gimmick. I've even seen chants. Or I think it was the Boz match when I wrestled Boz at Northland in July 2021. A lot of people were chanting IRS. And I get it because, everything under the sun's already been done. And so, now here's another guy with short sleeve shirt, button up, tie and suspenders. It's IRS. You just think IRS. And so, whatever, I don't mind it, but, and it's a double-edged sword, to tell you the truth, Sean, because on one hand, a character like Erich Shultz that dresses the way I do, because again, I wear the tie and the shirt and the suspenders, and you don't see like a big He-Man type physique with the chest and the abs and the shoulders, and all I do is come out with my shirt, my tie, my suspenders. And so when you see a guy like that, you don't necessarily think, oh, that's a world champion. He's going to be this promotion's top guy or whatever. But at the same time, and so that's the negative side of it, but at the same time, the positive side of it is because it's such a fun character, there's always use for it. You know what I mean? Like, you can always, we can pair him up with this, or we can feud him with this person or whatever. So there's kind of that dichotomy where you got, I'm limited in some ways with the character, but I'm also like, I also have a lot of opportunities in some ways with the character. Yes. So, so yeah.
Sounds good, man. Is there anything about your character you feel you can develop more as you move forward, and why?
My physique. I need to get beefy, and I got the skinniest arms in the whole business. You know, I'm pretty tall. I mean, I'm 6'1". I'm like 6 foot with no shoes on, 6'1" with the boots on. So that's tall. You know, it's not 6'5", but like Cody or whatever he is. But it's, you know, I have some height. And then again, just being that tall, you know, I'm like 200 pounds. You know, and that's something, you know, that's nothing to sneeze at. But, you know, when you consider some of these guys who are just, you know, beefcakes at 2 1/4, like 225 or something, then it's like, yeah, a slim, lean 200 doesn't seem like much. But yeah, that would be one thing I would focus on. And it's actually one thing I'm working on, is just kind of working out and getting the necessary amount of protein in each day and things like that. So and staying consistent with it. Consistency seems like it's the biggest thing. So but that would be the one thing I'd want to change about my gimmicks, kind of beef up a little bit.
No, I was just thinking about maybe the character has, goes a different direction, loses his mind and goes crazy. You know, we've seen these characters get like frazzled before, you know what I'm saying? Like, and like kind of like the Baron Corbin, you know, like we had the bum ass Corbin, and you know what I'm saying? That's all I could see.
Yeah. You know, that's the fun thing about this is it's like, you know, for me, it's kind of like, you know, the creative aspect of the character is, you know, it's a lot in my court and I get to decide that, but also at the same time, I find it's like, it's kind of wherever I'm working. Like I can work at a show and they're saying, hey, we want you to do this, or I work at another show and it could be a completely different direction. They're saying, hey, we want you to do this. Like they're taking what I am, which is a lawyer, but they're still kind of like fitting it in their vision. And so, so I still get to kind of play a little different part. You know, at CSW, I'm with a faction of 2 others, Mario and Shelly. And so, you know, I get to be part of that faction. And I feel like I'm like the odd man out in that group, which is a fun character to play, you know, like the straight man to their, you know, they're very colorful, you know, model type personas. You know, and then at Northland, I'm like a heel. I'm just like kind of a dirty heel. And then, you know, you get booked in other places and they want to use you and your character, but they have maybe a little bit of a different vision for you and your character. And I think that's fine. And that's fun for me because then I get to play a little bit of a different character. I'm still Erich Shultz, but, you know, maybe with a little bit of a different twist, maybe with a little bit of a different motivation at that particular show or whatever. So, but yeah, that's kind of the fun thing about this whole, you know, this whole business.
Yeah.